Hello, I'm Jerry Odell. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of 6Ls, and I'm in charge of all the farming and packing operations in their various locations in the United States and Mexico. We're here in the low country of South Carolina. This is an area where tomatoes have been grown for about 60 or 70 years. Today, there's probably 2,000 acres being produced. We've been working with Harris Teeter for about 15 years. We grow about 1,000 acres, primarily tomatoes. The mild climate in the late winter allows us to plant here in March and have tomatoes ready for harvest by the first week of June. The light sandy soils here allow us to control just about all of the inputs that go into the tomato crop. Our newest product, the Vintage Ripes, which is an heirloom type tomato, we produce about 750,000 pounds a year here in South Carolina and about 7.5 million pounds year-round in the United States. Vintage Ripes are packed in a very unique manner. This is a very delicate tomato that needs to be handled with extreme care to preserve the integrity of the fruit until it gets to the final consumer at the supermarket level. The tomatoes are hand-picked one by one. They are graded in the field and placed into recyclable plastic containers. Those containers are then transferred to a packing facility where the tomatoes are once again graded and placed in a booty and then packed in a padded single layer flat. We are able to trace any of our tomatoes from the final package back to the seed lot that we planted in the greenhouse. All of our packaging carries a code that indicates where it was grown, the day it was picked, where it was packed, where it was grown in the transplant house, and what seed lot was used to produce the transplant. How can the consumer tell when a tomato is ripe? Well, obviously, any tomato that has achieved this color is going to be a ripe tomato. Here in the farm, what we do is we continually slice tomatoes. We look for the gel development here in what we call the locules. When the seeds start to turn brown and the gel in the locules starts to turn clear, that means the tomato is approaching maturity. Our Vintage Ripes, however, we normally pick at a much higher state of maturity, and that's why they have to be so carefully handled, because they will bruise easily. The best way to maintain the quality of a Vintage Ripe is to always maintain it at room temperature. It will have quite a long shelf life at room temperature, and there will be no need to refrigerate it. I eat Vintage Ripes almost every day. I eat them many different ways, but perhaps my favorite way is a big thick slice on a BLT.